Everyone, good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you all slept well. You're welcome to the 2025 ESO Mapping Review Workshop. My name is Ucha Nimkolai. I'm the ESO Program Manager, and I will be working with you all to sort of push this particular process through. So we want to start, and please can the people outside come in? Thank you again to our online community. You've been amazing so far. Even before it was a few minutes past 8, we had up to 14 of you log in, and you've been consistently waiting. And I know that your patience is not in vain. All right, so we'll now start officially, and we want to take the national anthem. Please, let's be upstanding. Thank you. Patriotism. Recently, we had a new world record holder for the largest pot of jollof rice. I am particularly thrilled that to have that big pot of jollof rice, which some people felt silenced all arguments regarding who had the best jollof rice in Africa. There were some behind the scenes activities a lot of us didn't note. Does anybody have any idea of how many goats were slaughtered to make that delicious pot of jollof rice? Any idea the number of goats? You and I may not know the number of goats that were slaughtered, but we know that somebody went to the market and got those goats from an entrepreneur. Somebody went to the market and ordered for that pot that was fabricated by a small business owner. A lot of small businesses made money off that delicious pot of jollof rice. That's to tell you about how important SMEs are. And for us at the Nigerian ESO Collaborative, we constantly look out for how we can provide better services, meet them at their points of needs, of course, working with a very distinguished enterprise support organizations. Thank you again, and we welcome you and appreciate you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to be here. We want to welcome our very beautiful, distinguished, remarkable CEO, Ms. Etemo Global, to give a welcome address. Welcome, ma'am.
Future. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me establish the protocols, and thank God that there are no government officials here, so everyone here is a special guest. So to the steering committee of the Enterprise Support Collaborative, general members of the collaborative, funders, partners, guests. I'd like to welcome you to this very important workshop on the review of the Enterprise Support ESO mapping report. It's important to remember the very critical role that enterprise support organizations play in the strengthening of the impact investment landscape. Enterprise Support Collaborative help us in preparing businesses to become investment ready. And in 2019, when we did commissioned a landscaping report for impact investing in Nigeria, we realized that there's a huge gap, a low pipeline of investment-ready businesses to absorb impact capital. And that in itself really reduced the investment climate. So there was really no pathway for investment capital to reach businesses. And so it was imperative for us to provide a solution to the market through enterprise support organizations who will be positioned to help us build a pipeline of investment-ready enterprises. And as you know, ESOs themselves are small businesses that we must also support to provide that very critical gap that we identified. And so when we set up the Enterprise Support Collaborative, it was important for us to map the ecosystem to find out who is an Enterprise Support Collaborative. We needed to define who they are. We needed to see what people were doing, the kinds of services that were available in the ESO landscape. It was important for us to map the opportunities, the gaps, the services, etc. Hence, we did the very first report. And in the validation workshop, where we presented the very first report, we got your feedback. And your feedback was important in helping us to know where we needed to address in a follow-up mapping report. But it was interesting to see how members of the ESO Collaborative have been interacting with the report in the first instance. We've had 455 visits to the ESO website and 214 downloads. And these were the ones we recorded, and not to talk about the ones that we didn't record. So people have been interacting with the first mapping report, and we've gathered feedbacks, and it's time for us to review and update that feedback. What are some of the things we want to see from a workshop like this? Is to find out what exists, where are the pain points, what can we do better, how can we help you provide solutions, what services are missing in the market, who is doing what, how can we work collaboratively to support ESOs across Nigeria so that you can be more effective in building a pipeline of investment-ready MSMEs. Your roles, I would say, is not undermined. You are the engine room, the grinding and force that would help Nigeria actually achieve inclusive growth. So, thank you for being here. I'd like us to be honest in our conversations today. I'd like us to please roll our sleeves and bring up ideas for a meaningful conversation that would help us to designing an updated mapping report. So today's ESO report review workshop will break ourselves into groups. We'll do some presentations to help guide our conversation. We'll also present to you the justification for this review. We'd like to welcome your feedback during the sessions where you'll be sitting and interrogating things. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you again for coming here. Let the conversations begin. Thank you very much, Ucha. And also to our online participants, thank you very much for joining this conversation. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. Another round of applause. That applause was just too stingy. Haba. All right, thank you. So moving on, we have a goodwill remark by Miss Alice Dada, a RISA country lead. Unfortunately, she's out of the country at the moment, but she did give her she did send her goodwill, good wishes, and the best to us as we convene and review the scores and then take actions for the future. So I will just quickly jump into the next agenda, into the next item on the agenda, which is an overview of the Nigerian ESO collaboration. So this is where we are, 1 year and some months after the Nigerian ESO collaboration came to exist. We are happy to report that a lot has happened since then. And before the framework was set on what to do and how to approach interventions, we commissioned a research that looked at the present ESO that looked at the present ESO landscape in Nigeria, and interviews, with conversations, with focus group interactions. All of this was put in a document that we will look at again with fresh pair of eyes today. So moving on, we want to say that it's not been an easy journey, but we've not walked alone. We've worked with a lot of stakeholders in the ecosystem. So I'm going to do a brief overview of the Nigerian ESO Collaborative. Next slide, please. Okay, so you can see that we've done quite a lot since we came to be. This is a little... All right, so this is a brief introduction. The Nigerian ESO Collaborative is a structured program. We do not exist on our own. It's a concept, it's a vision led by a CEO, and which was vetted through the intermediary working group of IIF's NABI board, National Advisory Board for Impact Investing, brings together enterprise support organizations, incubators, accelerators, any structure, system, or intervention that directly addresses the gaps in the ecosystem and provides support to enterprises and entrepreneurs. The ESO Collaborative also targets interventions across different sectors. As long as you're an entrepreneur, you're nano, micro, small, formal and informal sector, we see you as somebody that is important to the work we do. Next slide, please. So this is the scope of our services. You can see that we do a lot. We provide business development support services that we started this year through the SCALE program. SCALE is a framework set up by Agidus Foundation, and we've done quite a lot of work. We've seen a lot of impact. We've seen SMEs grow. We've seen them develop competencies to set up stronger structures at the board. We've seen them do so much more than they would have. And with the new tax regime, which is coming up shortly, it's as if we knew this would come. So we'd say we're doing the right thing at the right time. We have also supported and provided capacity building programs for the sector. This is our fourth capacity building program, where we're very, very deliberate about the areas we build capacities in, and ensuring that at the end of every program we have outcomes and we have calls to action, what to do. So it's not the usual talk shops without action afterwards. So we also provide opportunities for access to finance. On our digital platforms, especially the WhatsApp group, we have very, very dedicated members who are always open to share opportunities, always open to share information about funding sources and handhold people through the process of assessing funds for their business to support growth and, of course, expansion. Next slide, please. So we also support technology adoption, which is why we're here. Within the past few months, a lot has happened in the ecosystem, and two major things that have really influenced strategy is the rising role of AI, and of course, how important it is to ensure there's gender equity and social inclusion, which is why we're here, to incorporate those two major things into the research document. Of course, we also support policy advocacy. Recently, we did a feedback. We stepped back and looked at 1 year of running this program, and we did design a questionnaire that we sent to our stakeholders in the ecosystem, and we asked, what's your opinion about driving policy? What have you done so far to support policy? We know that with whatever is done at the grassroots, if there isn't proper governance in place and policy to give it that legal backing, a lot of our programs wouldn't see good outcomes. And we were quite surprised to see that a lot of our members are involved in high-level advocacy, policy decisions. A lot of them sit on boards of organizations where major decisions that direct and support government in providing direct intervention to the SME sector. We have a lot of members there, and they said they had sort of brought in new perspectives to advising government. And we know that this particular government is quite open to hearing, learning, and adopting what is best fit for the country. We also do other things like support strategic initiatives, collaborative frameworks, etc., etc. So this is to say that our work is not cast in stone. Yes, we have a framework and a structure, and anything that helps support the ecosystem that guides us to meeting our vision and mission, certainly we're in, and we're always excited to participate. All right, so we currently have over 210 members. We have 5 working groups of 25 members that do a lot of work in terms of advocacy, research, capacity building, access to finance, technology adoption, and business development. And we have a steering committee of 11 members. So the challenge for us is how to do more work with the competencies we have on ground. We have a lot of competencies, seasoned, trained, highly valued members of the ecosystem doing amazing work all over the nation. So that's what we're doing now, focusing more inwards on how we can, with this critical mass of skills we have, do much more than we're doing. So these are some of the programs we've had this year. We've had our annual forum. We've been running our skill program since March, continues to the end of the year. We're able to have an immersive learning experience which took us to Ghana to attend the African Impact Summit and also meet with top ecosystem partners in Ghana. And we're happy and excited to announce that one of our members has signed a partnership with one of the top incubation and ESO engagement specialists and companies in Ghana. And of course, we're always involved in high-level advocacy, and we're always excited to collaborate. And just to point out here that all of this work we've done is based on the action plan developed when the report was launched. When the report was put out there, we had a validation exercise. And during the validation exercise, members of our community were able to commune and come up with strong areas they felt were priority, looking at the recommendations. And what we've done so far is to work on those key areas to ensure that the report isn't just a document sitting on a shelf, but it's a live document that can be called upon to direct some of the things we do. So I would like to call on Ms. Diamond Kanu of Innovation Africa to share with us some of the highlights of the report. They were the consultants that worked on the report. You're welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Diamond Kanu. Sorry, I have a sore throat. So good morning again, everyone. My name is Diamond Kanu, and I'm from Innovation Consulting. So I'll be walking us through the highlights of the 2024 ESO mapping report. From the mapping, we found that ESOs have been more focused on early stage support, investing in capacity building, access to funding, technology, and product development. Their focus on early stage enterprises show that there's a need to invest more towards scalability, and not just training. Next slide, please. We also had the opportunity to speak to actors in the ecosystem. We found challenges of low record-keeping culture, access to funding being more difficult to get in the local context as compared to the international, as well as geographical and social barriers, especially in the rural areas. The next one, please. From these challenges, we developed 5 strategies. We developed 5 strategies to address these challenges. Sorry, I can't see. Okay. The first strategy was to increase the enterprise readiness level. We proposed to do this by investing in digital literacy, impact measurement, and also providing public and private sector partnerships to increase transparency and reduce duplicity. Next slide. Our second strategy was to improve capacity of ESOs to deliver effective programs. We proposed to create a digital platform for ESOs to showcase and promote their services, provide both online and offline services, partner with institutions to improve the skills and capacity in service delivery. We also propose to support ESOs to develop commercially viable business models. Next slide. Our third strategy was to expand the sector of focus for ESOs. We saw that there was so much focus on agriculture and technology, and we proposed that by strategic implementation, we could actually deepen impact by focusing on other sectors like manufacturing, retail, creative, and other creative sectors. Next slide. Our fourth strategy was to reduce the gap between availability and access to funds. We saw that some of these enterprises do not even know where to find funding. So we proposed to sensitize and support ESO and also leverage on digital platforms to make access to funding simpler. Our fifth strategy was to partner with ESO collaboratives in the region. We believe that partnering with ESO collaboratives in other regions like Ghana will actually help strategize our funding strategies rather, and also help us in sharing information, create a platform for us to share information and also learn together. Next slide. From our analysis, we saw that collaboration and coordination, funding challenges, a need to leverage technology, and a lack of capacity and investment readiness were the major gaps in the ESO ecosystem. So we've developed a strategic approach that links collaboration, technology and digital innovation, sustainability, and impact. Okay. Sorry, is that? Okay. Sorry. These strategies that we've developed would ultimately create an ecosystem that is unified, resilient, and inclusive. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diamond. Can I complain about that applause? It sounded like Hamatan is upon us already. All right, thank you so much. And it wasn't easy to have done that research. And here's one thing that has happened since then. We've actually had to share a document with other stakeholders. And we've seen a lot happen in that particular space. We've had 2 or 3 direct interventions with ESOs. Again, we saw it first, the vision of the board, and the drive of our CEO was really specific. They saw far ahead, and we are seeing a lot of people try to catch up to what we're doing. So we're going to have our CEO speak about why it's important to have a review. Please, we're not saying the document is no longer current or accurate. We're only saying that because of the emergence of a lot of things over the course of the past 6-7 months, you'd agree with me that you either pretend it's not happening or you look inwards and see how you can improve upon what you have, which is what we're doing. CEO, ma'am. CEO, ma'am, sorry.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I will permit me, CEO, I will stand on all existing protocol that has been already established. It's always good to see everyone. Thank you as always for being here. Our distinguished ESO collaborative members. So, I mean, following from the welcome remark and Ucha's review and highlights by Diamond Innovation, the reason why we're here, why do we need to review the roadmap? As my colleague Ucha has said, it's not that it's not okay, but I would also, there's something our CEO always says, every document is not a two-dimensional document, it's a living document, something that we interact with. That's what gives it its essence. So because of that, we want to just highlight the reason why we want to review the roadmap. It was a landmark report, and it helped us understand who we are, what we do, and the challenges that shape our ecosystem. But like every living system, our ecosystem is fast evolving. And this is why we have this chance to review it, to update our understanding and fill critical gaps and align the disruptions and opportunities shaping the MSME growth today, which is inclusion and technology. I recall, I think in 2015, yes, there was a major disruption in the banking industry. Prior to then, we had like a large, I forget the statistics, but majority of Nigerians were unbanked. And by 2015 came up with OPay, certain platforms that disrupted the system. And disruption can be a challenge and also can be an opportunity, depending on the lens with which you're looking at it from. And so banks realized that if they needed to keep up with customers, they needed to, you know, migrate to that platform. And hence, you know, what we see today in the banking industry. So why do we need this review? 3 key reasons: relevance, evidence-based advocacy, and alignment with emerging trends. Okay, so the landscape has shifted, the MSME landscape has shifted. AI and inclusive growth are now central to enterprise support. Enterprise success. Our mapping must reflect that. Then, as a collaborative, evidence-based advocacy, as a collaborative, it's important that we have the ability to influence policy and attract investments. And that depends greatly on the quality of our data. And the quality of our data must be credible and it must be inclusive. And that's one of the reasons why we're here today. And it must be, you know, it must be comprehensive, up to date. Mapping must strengthen our advocacy and credibility. Then the third reason why we need this review is we cannot discuss enterprise development without addressing GESI, gender equity and social inclusion, and artificial intelligence, AI. AI is, doing things everywhere. It makes almost anything simple. It's an algorithm that gives you, it works with you to give you what you actually want. You can actually humanize it. It can, by the time you feed it in with the kind of data that you want, it's not garbage in, garbage out, but you can actually refine it to get the quality of what you're looking for. Now, when we talk about gender equity and social inclusion, that's one of the major gaps that we noticed in the 2024 mapping reports, the absence of that. And for our ecosystem to thrive, it must be inclusive, ensuring that women, youth, and persons with disability and socially excluded people are not left behind. And it's for that reason, earlier on in the year, PwC partnered with us as a knowledge partner to develop a gender and GESI roadmap, which we launched on the 2nd of October during the 3rd Gender Impact Summit. It's a roadmap with a 10-year implementation plan. The executive summary has been shared with yourselves, and it offers very clear framework. It's called the SPEDAC model that organizes inclusive growth across 4 pillars. The supply side of capital, enablers, demand side, and cross-cutting themes. But what does this mean for us as ESOs? So we'll just simplify it very, very simply to access, agency, and benefit. So who accesses it? Who gets in? Women, youth, persons with disability able to access ESO programs, finance, and mentorship. It's very critical. For instance, I mean, the study showed that 5% of women have access to formal credit in Nigeria, and they make up about 40% of MSMEs. Then when you come to agency, who decides? Who decides what? Are voices diverse? Are they represented in the ESO leadership and program design? We have, I mean, over 200 ESOs mapped in Nigeria. Fewer than 20% have women in leadership roles, including women, youth, and persons with disabilities in decision making to bring the balance that is required. Then who benefits from this program? Who gains? Are the programs and interventions, do they deliver equitable benefits? If, for example, we train about 500 entrepreneurs and only 50 women access funding or contracts, inclusion remains incomplete. So it's very, very critical that we look at these 3 things as we, head into our, the working groups: access, agency, and who benefits, who gains. Then we come to AI, which is the second major disruption. Artificial intelligence, it almost does almost anything. Sometimes people get scared that it's replacing humans, but I don't think it's replacing humans. Humans enhance how we get what we get from artificial intelligence. I mean, everybody uses ChatGPT. Once you begin to use it and feed it in the information that you want, you get exactly, it's an algorithm, and it gives to you, research-based quality, more quality, or something of more quality than, what
you initially put in it. AI is expected to add about 15.7 trillion to the global economy by 2030. And Nigeria ranks 103 out of 193 countries on AI readiness. This gap presents both a challenge, as I said, and an opportunity. So for ESOs, AI it's practical, smarter, and faster for more inclusive enterprise support. It would help in simple ways for efficiency and data, for personalization and access to finance. For personalization, I just discovered that Tony Elumelu's foundation, actually, they're experimenting using AI tools that personalize business advisory for each entrepreneur. So instead of one size fits all, AI can recommend tailored modules based on sector, business age and gender dynamics. Then AI for access to finance can identify promising but underfunded entrepreneurs. So AI can help us bridge inclusive gaps and not widen them if we design them intentionally. So what this review should achieve is one, update our ESO mapping to reflect GESI and AI realities, strengthen partnerships among ESOs, investors and government. When we go into working groups, these are some of the things when we discuss. At the end of the day, this is what I believe would be, possible, should be outcomes. Build capacity for digital transformation and inclusive programming, and promote accountability, ensuring our interventions deliver measurable and equitable impact. So if we get this right, we will not just have a more comprehensive mapping document, but a document that is stronger, smarter, and more inclusive for the ESO network, and that truly drives Nigeria's sustainable growth. Thank you very much, and we look forward to very engaging conversations during the working sessions. Thank you.
Thank you to our Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Chizoba, our Cancinesian. All right, so with that done, I want to walk us through the methodology for our review process. Next slide, please. So we will approach this from 3 different perspectives. You can see that our document, which we sent and we suggested you downloaded, but again, the slides we presented also took highlights of some of these things we're going to talk about. So we're going to break into groups of 3. The first focus will be on key findings. What are some of the key findings in those documents you think could experience more insights, more perspectives from, and then you align it on how this can be addressed through collaborations. Where we'll be having Mr. Michael Sano. Mr. Michael, please stand. That is him, that handsome young man, looking like a politician, incoming senator. He'll be the one leading the team for Group A. So for Group B, would look at the challenges that we identified in our research, and we'll look at it vis-a-vis how you can explore sustainability and impact. This will be coordinated by Delight, the co-founder, Startup South. Where is she? Most lovely, looking like the Duchess of the South South. They just Startup South South conference. It was amazing. They shut down 2 major cities in South South and Southeast Nigeria. You're welcome, ma'am. All right. So we'll have the third group focus on strategic recommendations. Some recommendations we are done, and we'll look at it from the point of digital innovation, coordinated by a most distinguished prince of tech globally. He's not just a local person. I call him Double One. Prince Obonna, he's the CEO of Molu Ventures. So we're going to break into the groups of 3, and I hope we'll have very fruitful deliberations in these 3 groups. All right, so this is the difficult part of my work, breaking us into 3 groups. Do I toss a coin? Any suggestions on how we'll break into groups of 3? Toss a coin. Take numbers. Okay. Thank you. So between toss a coin and take numbers, which one is easier? We pick a number. Or I just look at you and discern where you should be. All right, so let's pick numbers. We'll start from the back. We'll shuffle it up a bit. All right, CEO, please. CEO, you're number 1. I'll pass the mic round so people just speak any number from 1 to 3, minus our leads who will sit in.
1, 2,
3, 4. Number 1. 2.
We're picking numbers between 1 to 3 for our group work.
2. Okay.
Can I pick 3? No, okay. 3. She said 2, okay, good. 3.
Four.
No, take it.
Okay, 1.
2.
Okay, no, they have to stay together. All right. So, Group A, please, you can move to this side. Group A, you're going to focus on. Sorry, can I have the slide up again? Yes, you're going to focus on the key findings, exploring collaborations. So your group lead has the slide that has key findings on it. So she'll read them out to you, and you focus on it, and then look at it and ask yourself, what else can be done? What else have we experienced since the report was launched? And look at collaborations. But remember that 2 key principles must be involved in your conversation. Role and the importance of AI, and what again? Jesse, ensuring that people are included irrespective of their disability, and women are also fully represented. So those that picked 1, you're in Group A. Please, can we have you here? Thank you. So this is your flip chart, and you have a marker there. We don't have so much time. Group A, Group A, Group A. I picked 1. This way, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for moving expeditiously. Thank you. So for those that picked 2, you are all in Group B. You're going to focus on the challenges, exploring sustainability and impact. And you are coordinated by Delight. She's there. So I picked number 2. Please, let's have you together here. Thank you for moving expeditiously. This way. All right, so for those that picked 3, you're going to look at the strategic recommendations and leverage it on how you can explore technology. I'll be supporting. So let's move this way. Again, don't forget that for each of those presentations, look at the role of gender, equity, and social inclusion. And also remember that it's important to look at the major role that AI can play in all of this. So we're using this particular space. All right. Which group do you want to be? Okay. Oh, Tableta is coming. Okay, no problem. Topic 2. Okay, so our online community. Hello, the people online. How are you doing? Can you unmute? All right, so we know that you'd also want to participate. This board will be online. It will be a little difficult to split you into groups, but feel free to look at the 3 points we've highlighted. The challenges, that's for the, please can I have one slideshow, the 3 major points. We'll drop it in the WhatsApp group as well. So please feel free to look at the group A, group B, group C. We would love you to push in your comments. Anyone you want to, just give us. If you want to focus on group A, you can put A, key findings, exploring collaborations. Let's have your views, opinion. If you want to focus on B, you can put B, challenges, exploring sustainability, and let's have your comments in the chat box. If you want to focus on C, please feel free to comment on C. And then if you want to comment on all 3, God bless you. But don't forget to put them in the chat box. We'll harvest all of that and get back to you on it. All right. So okay, so Madam Delight is coordinating. Michael Sani is coordinating. You just have 25 more minutes. At the end of 20 minutes, you put down your points. And I will work with you here. Sorry, so I'll walk.
Recording in progress.
Okay, hello everyone. How are the conversations going? All right, we just have 5 more minutes. So please, let's begin to put them down on the flip chart. Let's begin to put them down on the flip chart paper. We wrap up in 5 minutes, go for a short tea break, come back, do sentences, and then we'll talk about next steps. All right, so let's begin to put our thoughts down on paper. Thank you. The thoughts on paper, and from paper to the flip chart. Well done, everyone. And to our people online, I've entered all the rooms, I've had conversations with you. I know who to hold accountable to give me a summary of the discussions in the different groups. That's for distinguished participants online. All right, the conversation continues, but we just have 4 more minutes. Let's begin to put discussions down on flip chart. Thank you. On. I can see that the conversations are unending. Let's see you. Thank you. I've actually given an additional 10 minutes. So I'll have to take 5 minutes from our tea break. Is it okay? All right, so 5 more minutes taken from tea break. We don't want to keep you back longer than necessary. All right, so 5 more minutes. Well, when we resume from tea break, that means we'll break for tea now. But for those that don't, you can go ahead and enjoy your 5 minutes. It's 11:12 now. We'll break for tea between 11:16 to 11:30. So we can wrap it up. I did promise to let you. All right, so for our online participants, we've had conversations. I've been in the different group, in the different online groups. I've encouraged you, but please still seek for help if you need it. But once it's 11:16, which is in the next 4 minutes, we break for tea just for 15 minutes, come back, do the sentences, and look at next steps. Thank you so much. and head back for sentences by 11:30. Tea break is ready, please. Thank you. more minutes left for tea. So let's quickly go and have tea, come back, and then continue. I want to get you out by 12. If I can't get you out by 12, I should be able to let you leave some minutes past 12. So let's quickly go and have tea. Conversations continue. Thank you. I hope your team members would also support you in this grand defense. All right, please come and state your case. And for our online participants, we will get to you shortly. Once we take the presentation by the people here, we'll get to you. Not to say that you're not deeply appreciated. We do appreciate the time and energy you spent so far. All right, Mr. Racket, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. We are Group A, and we talked about collaboration, ESO collaboration, to address some of the key findings in the report. And away from the report, we also make some deliberations. So we'll be glad to share the points with the whole house. I don't know if I'm able to continue or just wait for a few moments. Okay. On my team, I have Mr. Emmanuel, Mr. Joseph, Princess. I have Shizom, I have Madam Shizoba, and I'm Michael. So we had a very robust conversation in our group, and we talked about how we can explore collaboration as an ESO to address some of the key findings in the report. And before I delve into that, some of the key findings as highlighted in the flip charts include limited access to capital, as is limited access to finance, training and capacity development, access to market. Some of the these are some of the findings, and we now look at it that how can we as an ESO address this challenge using a collaborative mechanisms. So, as we can see that one of the strategy in the report is to strengthen the ESO. I want to try and find out that particular strategy. Let's talk about. Okay, we delve on first strategy and the second strategy, which is increase the enterprise readiness level. And we also talk about the second strategy, which is improve capacity of ESOs to deliver effective programs. And of course, we're talking about how we can support ESO to give a solution to some of the key findings we have in the report. So what we said is that if the private sector can collaborate with public sectors to do some of these, then we can have a very robust data, we can have a very quality data from both the demand side and the supply side. So those data are those data will now form the parameters or the key components of our support system. And some of the parameters, some of the data, we also talk about how IIF, Impact Investors Foundation, how they were able to use some of these key points, data, to drive their success stories. So we look at it that if we can emulate that, we can gather more data from the demand side and the supply side. Then if we have those data, we can now use it to get attention of the government. With quality data, we'll be able to have a very good policy document that government will be able to listen to us and partner with us. Then, with that also, we talked about how we can use that policy document to also drive success. We talk about success story, how we can use that success story to projecting that success story to also help the other people that are trying to like look up to the people that are able to access fund, or whether to access fund or access market or access capacity building. So if we are able to have that data from the demand side and the supply side, we will be able to use that to drive, success story. And success story will now be projected to drive more collaboration from the ESO, MSME, PWD, and all the partners in the ecosystems. So these are the things we deliberated on in our group, and it was a very robust conversation. I must tell you, the likes of Madam Shizoba made a lot of contribution to that group, and Shizom was there as well. Is there? Mr. Joseph also made a very valuable contribution to the group.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Don't think mentioning the name of my chief operating officer will not make me ask you questions. All right, so do we have any questions focusing on the areas they were supposed to highlight on? Did they effectively champion the causes of Jesse, gender equity, and social inclusion? Was it ably represented in their presentation? Do we think? Was it? Are we saying we have a near perfect document? Online participants, please, if you have any comments, let's know. All right, so since nobody is challenging, you stand unopposed for now. Thank you so much. Let's applaud Team A. All right, so Team B, Group B.
If you don't ask us questions, we ask you questions.
They will ask us. 10% to me. You're welcome, Madam Delightful Delight.
Sorry.
Thank you so much, Ocha. Thank you, everyone. And then, yes, standing on the already existing protocol, this is me, Delight, representing Group B. And we had a robust conversation with Charlotte, Tosin, Chiunwe, Jacinda, Mr. Paul, and yes, a backing support as well with our CEO, Temore. She shared in our group as well. So what did we talk about? What did we talk about? We talked about the sustainability. We explored the sustainability and impact of ESOs. We're looking at that vis-a-vis the challenges that came out of the mapping report. So we saw that the mapping report showed us some findings, and out of those findings, we were able to extract the challenges. And from the challenges, we were interested in seeing that we do justice to that conversation and see how we as ESOs can be more sustainable, not just be more sustainable, make more impact, do more for especially the MSMEs or startups that are under our purview. Let's quickly move to the next slide. So the slide is up. I believe you can see that. Let me not go over the intros, but it might just be very interesting to note that MSMEs represent approximately 90% of global business and over 50% of employment worldwide. This is just to say that we are occupying a very important position in the scheme of things. I would quickly go to the findings. Key findings of the ESO mapping report. The first thing we saw was limited access to capital, low digital literacy and readiness, geographic and socio-cultural barriers, We also saw poor physical and digital infrastructure, inconsistent regulatory frameworks, fragmented ecosystem of stakeholders, and low ESO capacity. We, where they help people, we never even breathe. So we need to do something about growing our own capacity to be able to really support the MSMEs. The eighth one was narrow sector focus and then weak link between MSMEs, financing, and ESO support. Most of these MSMEs are looking up to us to be able to not just be ready for financing, but also get the finance support. So those were the findings from the report. But there were new trends which impacted on the existing report. And the new trends, we saw that it shouldn't be swept under the carpet. We should bring them up and integrate them into the mapping report. And those are artificial intelligence and GESI. GESI, we mean gender equity and social inclusion. So for artificial intelligence, we found that it's projected to add about $15.7 trillion to global GDP by 2030. But awareness and access among MSMEs remain very low. So it's something we should pay attention to. And again, ensure that we have a robust gender equity and social inclusion indicators, okay? Very, very viable, very, very loud, and very much included in our intervention to MSMEs. So out of the conversation, we were able to get out some sustainable action points. The first one is funding and capital. Under funding and capital, we looked at how to develop blended finance model, create sustainable fund within collaborative. And to that, it might interest you to know that we are already working out of our conversation. We are recommending a unified financial management application. In fact, the conversation started right out of our table, and we are already in talking terms with the CEO on how that could happen. So one of us in our team, Tosin, of Peculiar Innovative System, are already working on an application for financial and data management, which can be useful for ESOs. So we are looking to build a unified financial management system that all the ESOs could be trained on using it, so we can start leveraging that to work on our finances. So we're already getting results from our conversation. If I were in a church, I would say, can we say amen? But nobody is saying amen. So please, can we clap to that particular one coming right out of our conversation? Yes. And then on that, we mentioned that it is important that ESOs begin to pay attention to their documentation, to their books. You cannot be talking about funding and capital and there are no traction, nothing to show about the things you are doing. We all face these challenges when you want to apply for one thing or the other, or even for grant. They're asking you, can you give us your financial statement for the last 3 years? And some of us start running out helter-skelter. You start looking for one of your friends who is an accountant. Oh boy, can't help me. I go submit this thing tomorrow. I bet can't help me. We should be prepared ahead of time. Digital transformation is one of the sustainability action points. We want to be able to build internal digital system, and if it's possible, partner with tech firms to make that happen. You cannot, in this age and time, be talking about supporting MSMEs and then you have no idea about digital transformation. We should start from us so that we can help others. Then we also looked at policy advocacy. create unified policy from under IIF. So, and that is what we are already working on with the financial management system. We are recommending that and hoping that it will pass if all of us think it's something we need. Another thing we spoke about concerning that unified policy is also having to provide AI training support. AI training support for ESOs. We want to have a unified AI training support for ESOs. It's under our sustainability action plan, and we have also begun the conversation around that, because you cannot embed AI in your own solution to MSMEs if you have no clue of what it is and how it can be helpful to you and then before them. On collaboration, we thought it has come to a point where we begin to collaborate a lot more. We should begin to work together to solve problems. We should begin to work together to carry out projects, bring and birth initiatives for MSMEs working together as teams. We think that working in silos hasn't helped us that much. So we should begin to do some things together. Under capacity building, we believe that regular ESO staff training and mentorship programs could really be very helpful. So as ESOs, let's begin to look inwards and begin to help with capacity development for even our own teams. And then we moved into impact. And here are the action plans for impact. And that is access to finance. What are we doing for the MSMEs? What are the things we have put in place to really prepare them for investment readiness? For them to be ready and for us to be able to link them to investors, we must teach them to put their books together. We must teach them that it's important that they document and have a proper traction of their business. And that is impact if we are able to do that. Then we must also have AI adoption plan for them, which is to pilot AI-driven ESO tools to take care of data, communication, and training for the MSMEs. Then JC mainstreaming. It is no longer news that even the people you're looking to sponsor you are interested in knowing how many women, how many youth, and of course people with disability you are also trying to touch their lives. So we must become more intentional to include them in our initiatives from the ideation point. No, it shouldn't be an afterthought. We should look at interventions to see, oh, this intervention, oh, how many men are playing here and how many women are playing here, and come with an understanding to say, okay, these are the percentages of women we need for this intervention. And then we go ahead and offer it. So it's important that we put JC in front burner of our ideation process for project. Sector diversification. We must begin to support high impact local sectors. We discovered that the mapping didn't cover quite some sectors. There are women who sell crayfish and they are doing massive export of crayfish. Even kuli. We need to begin to pay attention to those people as well, so that we have a more holistic impact, okay, on the real MSMEs who need help. Then we lastly looked at impact measurement. We said that it is fine that we are doing the M&E, but we are saying that it is even more important to include the L, which is MEL, monitoring, evaluation, and learning. So yes, it is fantastic that you're measuring the impact of your training while it is ongoing. It is very much more important to evaluate the outcome of that training. But it is most important to sit down and do a learning with the two components to say, these are the things that worked for us. These and this did not work. And then you make adjustment to say, this and this and these are the things we are adopting. And that is so, so important. So in building sustainable ESO collaboration, we are saying that it is important that we put these things in perspective. So these are our submission from our group, and I'm particularly excited about my group members for a robust conversation. And thank you so much, Richard, for the opportunity to present here today. Thank you. I will be standing by for your questions if you have any.
Thank you so much. Questions?
Yes.
Questions? I'm sensing. All right. But when Michael was here, nobody asked any. Is that a gender issue? All right, go ahead and ask. Don't mind me.
I guess your group is talking about sustainability impact
Yes.
of ESO.
Exactly.
Oh, good. What really drew my attention is that you talk about accountability and transparency because it's the
Okay.
key of the goal. Maybe you didn't know it very well. You say that every ESO must prepare their book of accounts. And the excess of providing the book of account is because of accountability and transparency for the donors that give you fund for your work.
Okay.
And what I want to add into it that monitor, assessment, evaluation must be taken. Do you understand? And for it to be sustainable, there must be monitor, assessment, and evaluation. And there must be proper book of accounts in which most ESO did not normally meet it. My own contribution is not a question, but addition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I will answer you right away. What? Okay.
Okay, sorry to chip in. You said ESOs, the reason why they should have a proper book of accounts is because of their investors. All right, so let me now disclose that Madam Delightful Delight is one of our champions in our ESO skill program. Her reports always come in on time, early, concise. She's particular about the SMEs she monitors. So she will tell you let me help her tell you that may not be the case. Everybody needs a proper record of accounts. It might not be in the accounting terminology you used. Even personally, in the area of personal finance, I should be able to know what comes in and what goes out. Anyway, let her respond. She's a champion on the field.
Thank you so much for your question. Now, maybe you didn't pay attention to the fact that we were talking about the sustainability for ESOs, and we're looking at the impact of our sustainability on the MSMEs. So when I was discussing sustainability action points, we were looking at the ESOs. And then when we were talking about the impact action points, we were looking at the MSMEs, because the true impact of our own sustainability is on the MSMEs that we are training, true of us. So when we were discussing finance, we discussed finance for us, and then we came down to discuss finance action point for the MSMEs. Apparently, you heard me when I was discussing that of the MSMEs at the time that year. Yeah, so that is it. Did I answer your question? Thank you. All right. Does anyone else have a question for Ross?
Okay, so let me chip in there.
Yes.
If you've noticed, we have a special table this way. Our community members from the disability, you can see that we have a sign language interpreter. She's been busy communicating, ensuring that they are not left behind. I'll also encourage us to learn sign language. There was a time I knew a few, but I've forgotten. All right, so please, do they have any question, any comments so far? Anything to add? Are we being particular about inclusion? Do they feel their needs are being addressed? The microphone is coming to this table. We'll just spend 5 minutes before we move to the next group. Madam Delight.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you comfortable standing or?
I'm very
to sit?
okay, ma'am,
All right.
until we are done. Isn't she beautiful?
Tolashe from this group. Tolashe Kolapo. What she's presenting is that talking pertaining to people with disabilities, gender equity, and social inclusion. She believes that there are some areas of disabilities that contributes more to global GDP more accessibility and more technology, ICT technology, to make it easy with persons with disabilities. Okay. Thank you. You don't have.
All right. Yes, give her so that she can. Please, can we clap for her? Thank you. Beautiful lady. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon all. So in addition to what she said, because what she's trying to explain is, from our discussion, we've seen that there's a need to have a separate as in to be intentional about segmenting the, or creating a disability inclusive financing,
program.
Exactly, like having a cluster rather than merging it with G, as in gender and all that. Gender is important. I'm a woman, of course, but then we've seen that accessibility, like she said, because it might be available. The resources are actually there. Yeah. The sectors are doing a lot, but we're here because we've seen gaps. IIF has seen gaps, and and Ucha and the rest of the team have, but we're also seeing that even if we are not intentional about creating a different sector for them, we'll miss out on, like somebody said, a whooping 7%, as an additional 7% contributions to the global GDP. Globally, that's globally.
Yeah.
In terms of Nigeria, I don't have the figures here, but it's also a lot of money we're missing on. Missed opportunity to, as in, some of them are potential labor force, but because, particularly about the deaf, because when you talk about accessibility, for other persons with disability who are equally important, it's easier compared with persons with people who are deaf because of communication. So, and we're saying it's not just, yes, the interpreters are doing a lot, but personally, from my own experience, sometimes the interpreter, this is not to say their work is not important. No, never. But sometimes they might use a language and sign, but because I can sign, I can see that no, because it would, of course, when talking about technicability, using technical terms and all that, he can use a different sign. But if once I see that, even if I can't sign that, I will give them a difference and say, no, not in this context, it means something else. So all we're saying in essence is, there's a need to have a cluster and not just merge it with the rest so that we can capture the additional GDP that is lost or missing, so as it were. Thank you. And then she tried to explain about the technology aspect as well. Yes, from experience, we've seen that when you say people are behind, generally, or you say people are vulnerable, they are even more vulnerable. one of them actually shared with me that, before the interpreter arrived and all that, she had been using an AI to, she went online and then she was able to use an AI tool to capture and follow and all that. But how many of them are as knowledgeable as she is? How many of them are as empowered? We've also seen the gap, the need to use AI to actually promote their business. But what we're saying is, those are general sense. But if we're not intentional about creating, or a suitable plan for them, or beyond the plan, something realistic, a suitable program for them, we will still miss out on that special population and their potential to contribute to the GDP of the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I mean, that's, that was coming from the heart. And I could feel it. I could feel it. Can we clap for them once again? So it's a good submission that should be looked into. However, I know that there are clusters from the national and then to Lagos State is not a state that will be saying it's not. You have a lot of information available. But we know we have clusters for people with disability. We have clusters for earpreneurs like this. We have clusters for people who are mobility impaired, people who are visually impaired. What happens in those clusters? Is it possible to be able to get more people with disability to join some of these clusters and probably drive the conversation at cluster level?
All right.
It does make sense.
Okay.
Or you want to add to that, please? Anybody that has to speak to that, please.
I want to quickly say something about that. When we were making our presentation in Group A, we
Yes.
talk about support, and that is why we emphasize on data from the supply side and demand side. Now, when we look at it, demand side, PWD is actually part of the demand side. The gender, Jesse, and all that. So, if we have a very good and quality data
Yes.
that we informed some of these needs and some of these requirements from all the players and all the actors
Yes.
in the demand side, it will now inform the kind of policy, it will inform the kind of programs that will be designed, and the kind of support, either financial support, capacity building support,
Yes.
or what have you support that is needed to help project that. But first and foremost, we need that data to help to be able to drive that conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Michael. And then thank you, everyone. Now, I believe that our secretariat in IIF and the management have taken note of this and will work on that to ensure that it's mitigated. Thank you so much.
Please let's have a more healthy round of applause for the ever delightful Madam Delight. Her name does not do her justice. A woman of grace, excellence, beauty. Can't you see she's looking as fresh as Periwinkle from River State? Not the one you buy in Borokiri Junction, no. The one you go deep, you have to go deep into the sea to catch. All right, thank you so much. We have Group C presentation. Yes. Who is helping the team? And we'll have okay, thank you. So we'll also have a expert advice just to dig deep further. Mr. Prince Obona. Yes. He's a multitasking personality. Yes, but we're happy he's here on ground. Yes. And he was on ground, then I had to step in because a couple of things were happening, but he's here and he's on. Please, camera, catch him. He's here and he's on ground. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, everywhere. All right, welcome, sir. Let's have your presentation. Slide or you're reading it out. Both. That's multitasking on another level.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to the team, the panelists, the people who put this together. Thank you so very much. I think standing on the existing protocols, I would just begin the day, first off, by commending the both teams that went before us. I mean, you guys put us on the spot, so we'll do our best. To start off, the strategy or the methodology we got was strategic recommendation, exploring technology, and digital innovation. So that was the approach we used, and we of course integrated diversity and gender equality. So strategy one was, how do we increasing enterprise readiness level? Basically, how do we, excuse me, there we go. How do we get the word out there in terms of the impact to be had? How do we get people who are in need of the advice that we're offering to a point where it's applicable, where it can be taken action with? And we looked at this in various means of application. One of the things that we talked a bit about was peer-to-peer coaching or peer-to-peer mentoring, because one thing we realize is that oftentimes we as ESOs or different organizations, we go to different communities, rural or otherwise, and we talk and we preach and we say different things. But if it's not relevant to them, if they don't believe in it, then it's just talk. And one of the ways we intended of overcoming that hurdle was to have someone within the community, someone who is of like mind as them, propagating the benefit of what we're saying, because that way it's not necessarily just coming from us. Next slide, please. Thank you. And one of the things that we talked about was digital literacy incentives, and basically how we can get different people in need of the information or knowledge that we have, exposing their mind to greater understanding, greater knowledge. But in terms of digital literacy, we spent time talking about how this is applicable, because it's easy to just say digital literacy and it have very little meaning, if at all any, because we can talk about, oh, the people in rural communities should go get digital literacy, and the question will be from where? So one of the things that we spent some time talking about was understanding how this information can be, how they can gain access to this, how they can gain access to the digital literacy. So factoring things like geographical implications, because every region is not the same and every region has its own nuances. So we talked about that, and then we also spent some time talking about integrity, because one of the things that we find is when there's not buying or when there's not believe in it. So we use the example of, which I'm going to get ahead of myself now, we use the example of organizations who are in the funding business of providing access to loan, and basically people who take loan with clear intentions of not paying back. So how do you overcome that hurdle? Because at that point, Mr. or Mrs. or Miss or Mr. has already made the decision of not paying back. So we talked about the significance of integrity, talking about the importance of ethics, and the way in which we intend to do this is looking at the different, what you would call, factions of socioeconomic breakdown. So whether it's the youth space, or it's the women to women, or it's the group leaders to disseminate this information. Next slide. Okay. So one thing that we also talked about was in terms of after this impact is made, or after we've basically disseminated information, the ball is rolling, impact is being happened, we wanted continuity in the flow of things. So we looked at this by implementing accountability partners. So those peer-to-peer mentors or those peer-to-peer individuals who are coaching or who are guiding would also serve in the role of accountability partners to ensure the continuity of what's happening. And one of the things that we'll add on, just like one of the group mentioned, was evaluation and monitoring, because you can spend 3 months going to whatever community or region and doing the things you do, but if it's not monitored or tracked, after a few weeks, a few months, you're back to square one. You can move on. So the next strategy here is increasing capacity for enterprise support organizations. And our recommendation centered greatly around cybersecurity and fraud that happens. And we looked at this in terms of individuals or older individuals who give access to, even family members, give access to maybe their password or their card to go help them withdraw finances or withdraw money because they don't know how to utilize the POS system. And the very own family member is taking advantage of the older ones. So we talked about cybersecurity, we talked about e-fraud and how to prevent these things from happening, because if you can stop the cause, then the effects will over time vanish. Sorry, the light is like, okay, yes, expanding sector focus. And we looked at this from two different aspects. So we talked about, we looked at it from two different aspects, sustainability and also, okay, thank you. And also value chain optimization. And what we mean by that is basically looking at the value chain and how we can optimize every single step of the process. We all know this is a very common reality that happens in Nigeria, although it's slowly fading away, that we produce crude in Nigeria, but yeah, we take the crude oil and export it to whatever country, I will leave that blank, that you choose, and the crude oil is processed there, and then we buy the petrol back at 10x the price, if not more. And the same thing happens for chocolate, cocoa. We take cocoa, we export it, and then after a series of process, we buy chocolate back after the price has quadrupled. And we were thinking, how can we optimize the value chain to keep all of that resources within the country? And this is beyond just even finances, because each and every step of the way you're creating employment, you're creating opportunities. And one of the examples the team member mentioned was looking at the aspect of maize or corn that okay, I'm running out of time. Last one, I'll just wrap up with this. An agripreneur does basically, he takes the corn, he runs the farm, takes the corn, and from the corn being processed, the shaft is used for different products. Not corn, sorry, cassava. The shaft is used for different products. The cassava produce that comes out of that is processed into Gary, and then Gary is ultimately put on the shelf. And each and every step of the way, you're creating employment, you're creating resources and impact to the community.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I thank you more. I mean, when he said he had, he also had slides. I don't know. When did you do this? You came with your agenda ahead. That's a prepared gentleman. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. So this sector expert is Mr. Prince Sobona. Do you have any comments on what was done? Remember, this particular session was supposed to focus on technology, innovation, with the overlay of Jesse and how to align with the present trend of AI. Any comments? Or we should leave it as it is? Knowing you will not leave it as it is.
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you so much for the team for putting together this robust response to for this. My only deliberations would be with regards to the ESOs, how they're absorbing the use of AI, and then how they are also helping to disseminate and then communicate, implement these AI strategies for other businesses. So it's important for both the technologies that are driving implementation of AI within the ESO's organization, okay, how they are applying the structures and processes in place, how AI is affecting how, their productivity, and then how AI in itself is helping them. I was having a conversation yesterday, and I said we are limited as ESOs. You cannot take a number of jobs in a year. If you are going to be helping other businesses to scale, how are you scaling basically? How are you, as an organization, taking up more opportunities and more responsibilities and delivering on them? Then as an ESO, there are different ESOs. There are ESOs that are ISOs, right? Innovation Support Organization. So if you are ISO, you are going beyond just supporting entrepreneurs. You are helping them implement technology. You are helping them do innovation. Then the question is, how much capacity do you have? Do you have technical staffs that understand AI? Do you have technical staffs that are aware to deploy, to test? Because you have to test some of these stuff and say, okay, this has helped us move our business from point A to point B, so we can confidently do that for other businesses based off on what we have implemented. So I feel that ESOs should begin to make important investment budgets in testing AI solutions and implementing, and also helping to cascade that transformation, digital transformation, to other businesses. Then for Jesse, I would say that it's important that ESOs and ISOs begin to look at gender-focused deployment. I can say that for our organization, this year we've had over 3 engagement in terms of gender-focused solutions and all of that. And why is that important? It's important because how you program, how you design your programs, how you are able to ensure that the programs reflect, gender smart outputs. It's important. So ESO should be able to adapt different curriculums that are essential, in that processes, and also ensure that we are fully enabled, to communicate that in a way that it has greater impact in the ecosystem. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Your hand is up. We'll get to you shortly, but I've kept this young man standing for long. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right, we also want to acknowledge our very active online community. Some of them have sent their feedback. We have feedback from Michelle. She talked about her teamwork, Group B. If you're listening, Michelle, Group B online. We also had breakout rooms online. And I chatted with them. I went into each breakout room to commend them, appreciate them, and let them know that because they didn't take tea break doesn't mean we don't know they are there and they're working hard. So Michelle talked about her key takeaways. She spoke about the challenges, knowledge and framework gaps, balancing sustainability and profitability, limited enablers and incentives, ineffective impact measurement, short-term capital orientation. And she says the opportunities we can explore in terms of knowledge building and standardization, and of course, policy advocacy and ecosystem alignment. We also have feedback from, sorry, to move faster. That's from Michelle Okoyomo, an investment professional. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, we also have feedback from Mr. Abiola Akinlabi. He focused on he focused on the group work for B&C, and he says some of the biggest risks for ecosystem is duplicating efforts, which is why Madam Delight talked about not working in silos. Let's know what you're doing. There's no point in 2 different ESOs doing the same intervention in the same community without them aligning and saving themselves money and stress. So he talked about the key challenges and sustainability levels we have: fragmented data and duplication of program, inclusion depth and hidden cost, compliance blind spots. If you know of people doing POS business, 2 years ago they were champions. 1 year ago they were mega champions. As it is today with the policies that POS operators, in the past 6 months, CBN has suddenly put a torchlight on the activities. I can tell you that doing POS business is no longer as profitable as it was. Let's assume you saw the profit, the short-term profit 2 years ago, and you invested massively in deploying POS terminals. You can imagine, because regulation isn't predictable. It's also an issue that affects the ecosystem. We also have strategic tech integration. There should be common and shared data systems, compliance by design, and a culture of compliance by program, compliance by impact, meaning that every initiative is not only measured by participation, but how compliant, secure, and resilient the outcomes are. This we got from Mr. Mutiaut Yusuf Akinlabi, Elevate Inside Partners. Thank you, Mr. Mutiaut. So let's go back to our online community. Does anybody want to add to what has been said so far? Or you want to throw more light? We are here to catch it. We have experts here. If you have one or two things to say, please go ahead and mute yourself. We want to hear from you, online community. You want to add to what we've said, or you have a new perspective you want to share with us. We want this document to be more comprehensive and inclusive. Any comments, online community? Somebody's hand is up. Okay, just raise your hand if you have a comment. We'll mute you so you can speak. Reminds me of this very popular lecturer we had when we were in school. He didn't like taking feedback. So he would ask the class, do you have any questions? He would answer himself, no. So please, you don't want it to be, do you have any question? Then I respond, no. All right, any thoughts, any perspective, new learnings, reflections you want to share with us? We're here. Online community, I can see you, Christian, I can see you, Mr. Evans, Sedebo. I can see you. Okay, I've read Mutiat's response. I've read Michelle Okoyolo's response. Yes, you also had a response sent in by Regina Alabi. Any comments, feedback? All right. So before I forget, please, before we break for lunch, we haven't had a group picture, and a couple of us have left. So hold me to account. Before we break for lunch, we must take our group picture. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been beautiful.
Yeah, I've actually have a comment. Okay.
Oh, somebody's online. Okay, go ahead. Let's have your comments, please. Please start by introducing yourself, your organization, then we can take your comments. Okay, please go ahead and unmute yourself. You have the right to do so.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maria. The name of the business I represent is Gas 24/7 NG. My comment is basically adding to what you said, which is government policy. Unstable government policy is very frustrating, speaking for myself, I don't know about other small businesses. I know there's a new regulation about business registration going on right now, and the new tax. Everybody's confused. For me, that really want to stay in business and grow my business, can we have a situation in a forum like this where small business owners are educated on the new policy? Because sometimes I go to my bank, it's really tax thing. For me, for a long time, I struggled between tax and what's the other one? ZV number. One other thing they ask for in the tax. And I'm like, what is the difference? So government policy educating small business holders, like small business owners like us, who everyday tax is just trying to grow our business. Not all of us have the time to sit down in front of the news or read the newspaper, but forums like this, quarterly and half yearly, to let us know what the new regulation is, to help us in managing and growing our business properly and bookkeeping our business properly. Thank you.
Yes, we will reflect that in our document, final document. All right, so thank you, everyone. Please, a round of applause to our online community. They've been here before 8. It's almost 1 o'clock. They are still here. I mean, these are super fans. I have more, and I like engagements like this. They didn't just sit back and mute their microphone and go to sleep. They were involved in the group work. They've given us content, not Instagram content too. They've given us things that reflects the work we do and what we keep on doing to improve on what we've done so far. All right, so to conclude, my slides, please. So this is me saying thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know I promised you to be out by 12, but we didn't start 9 on the dot because we needed to have more people coming. So I'm happy to say we are closing before 1. Thank you. So we always have respect for your time at IF, and we want to keep up to that tradition. All right. So just to say, as part of our closing remarks, our chair of the steering committee would have loved to be here. She's in transit, but I can go ahead and say, on behalf of her, thank you for coming, thank you for staying, and thank you, most importantly, for contributing. You could have come, stayed, and not made any input. You could have also not come or joined online, and you could have come and not stayed. So you did come, stay, make contribution, and we're so happy about it. So next steps. We'll do a synthesis and send to everybody here. We all have your details, so we can have final comments and input before we release a 2025 edition of the ESO mapping report. Thank you everyone for coming. And please, before you go, let's have our group pictures so that people will know you came. Thank you. Thank you, online community. I appreciate you. Please, let's clap for them. Let them hear our clap. Let's clap for them. No, this one is tea break clap. Large clap. The everyone 3 rows of a bar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is our lunch.
Please don't forget to give us your feedback. The link has been dropped in the WhatsApp in the chat box virtually. Please, before you go, don't forget to give us your feedback. It's really important we know how well we did, what we could have done better, and how to harvest more outcomes with other future engagements. So the feedback form, the link is in the virtual room, is in the chat box. I sent an email earlier to our community members. The feedback form is also there. We are always open to hearing, learning, and improving. Thank you, everyone. All right, so we are projecting it on the slide as well. Scan, go ahead and fill. Thank you.